Hello, welcome, I hope you're doing well. So today I'm going to show you the setup of my new Hobonichi Cousin, but first I thought I would explain why are you even seeing this notebook on my table. In my Q1 review, I said that I was pretty content in my previous system, that it was working for me. And that is still true. I think it is a very good system functionally. If you don't know, I separated my planning from my memory keeping. So I had one notebook for my to-do list and stuff, and then this other notebook for memories. But I think because of that separation, I just never developed an emotional bond with any of these notebooks. The planning notebook felt a little bit too cold for me. And the memory book, I was only opening once a week to make a memory spread, so it was just not enough time spent there. So in the end, yeah, it was functional for sure, but I was just not feeling it. And so with time, I just started thinking like how nice it would be to have everything in one place, like a one big book of life. And that is when I started considering a Hobonichi Cousin. I have never had a Hobonichi Cousin before. I had a Hobonichi Original, which is an A6 book last year, and I was pretty consistent with that one. But I was always very intimidated to try the Cousin. It's been on my radar for a long time, but knowing that it's a big book, like not only monthlies and weeklies, but also like a full page dedicated for each day of the year, I was just sure that I won't be able to keep up with it. And I also saw other creators struggling with that. So yeah, but now I was just craving something like that. Another reason I was leaning towards Hobonichi Cousin was that it has a Spring Start edition. Officially it starts in April, but I only started this in May. And if you don't know, I am getting married in May, and I just thought that it would be very, very nice to have that first year of my new life chapter in one place, like my first year of marriage. I'm not sure if that will happen because I'm not the most consistent person when it comes to sticking to planning systems, but it is a nice idea and I really like it. So who knows? Hopefully that will happen, and in the end of the year, next May, I will have a full book of memories. So yeah, these are the reasons why I decided to give it a go. And now let's move on to the setup. So first we have this yearly overview, and I don't do a lot here. I just glue a sticker when the month is over. It's kind of like a tracker to see how the year progresses. Then I saw a lot of people use this as a calendex to index the content of their daily pages, but I don't really use index. I much prefer to just flip through and find what I need. So I use this as my content planner. So I divided these monthly columns in weeks. The dashed line is separating the weeks, and I just track my YouTube uploads, which is this triangle, and also my Patreon uploads, which is a circle. And I really like it. I think it's very functional, and I would have done something like that somewhere in the book, so it's just very convenient that I already have the template made for me. Then we move on to monthlies. I use them pretty standardly just to track my events and appointments. So I have a general to-do list on this left sidebar where I write the tasks I need to do sometime this month. And I also use a color coding system so that I would not miss important stuff. So I use this blue color for any irregular events and appointments. So let's say I always have Zumba on certain days and it's a weekly thing, so I don't really need to highlight that. I already remember that I have it. But let's say doctor's appointments or meets with friends, stuff like that, that is not regular, that I highlight in blue. But going forward, I will probably change to another color because this blue zebra mild liner is doing too much ghosting and bleeding through to my liking. The paper is not the best in this notebook, so I will probably switch to a more paper-friendly color. Then I use this pink color for deadlines. The green one is for birthdays, and this light pink one is for holidays and special occasions. I try to keep my calendars quite minimal. I only decorate them after the month is filled, and yeah, I just put down several stickers, maybe a doodle, but I don't do too much with that. And yeah, this is the color I will be using instead of blue. And now let's move on to weeklies. So this is my last week's spread, and I'm seeing weeklies as my dashboard, kind of like week at a glance, like big picture view. I have a to-do list for the week with the tasks I need to do sometime this week here at the bottom. And you can see that I erased these lines, like it was going all the way down, but I just covered those so that I would have a full block for this. And for that I used a white gel pen. I used this Sakura Jelly Roll and I think it works really well for that. So yeah. Then at the top here I am tracking the weather. I'm filling it in advance so that I would not have to do this every single day, because from experience I know that I just forget about it. Then below the weather we have events and appointments, because that's usually the most important thing in the day that I really don't want to miss. Then we have a to-do list, and this is like a very rough planning. Like when I write this list, I usually dedicate these tasks to some days so that I would be sure that it will get done and just be able to see how my week looks like and balance everything. So yeah, it's a very general planning, and then I have way more detailed to-do lists on my dailies. And finally, I had a little bit of free space here below the to-dos, and I use this for my glimmers. I saw this term on Pinterest, and it says glimmers are the opposite of triggers. They are those tiny moments of joy, awe, and peace that cue your nervous system to feel safe, calm, and connected. So that is what I was tracking down here, kind of like gratitude, but not entirely. And here I have my currently reading, watching, and listening to of the week. I like this idea that the left side, when you're just starting the week, is more like planning for the week, and then when you are on the second half of the week, it's more like reviewing it. So that's the idea. But this first week looked a bit chaotic for me. So this week I am trying a bit more of a clean approach. I don't have much space for glimmers, so I don't know if I will continue doing those. And also, I'm not sure about this section, because even though I really like sticking in the covers of media I'm consuming, I think if I continue doing that with time, I will have a bump in this place. And I don't really want that, so I'm not sure. Like, I will probably do this for this week, but I will also probably try to think of something else. Maybe just writing down the titles, which doesn't sound that interesting. I don't know. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. I'm very curious to hear those. And I must say, like, I am a horizontal weeklies person. I have been using horizontal weeklies for, I don't know, 8 years now. So it was not easy to switch my brain to thinking in vertical, but I think this kind of works for now. We will see. And it is interesting, you know, to challenge myself to try something new, something I'm not used to. So yeah, that is my idea of weeklies. And now let's move on to dailies. I would say this is a good example of how my dailies look like. If you want to see a flip through of my dailies with me explaining what's in them, I have that on my Patreon. So definitely check it out if you're curious. I will have a link for you in the description box down below. And as for the layout, I'm dividing my page into 2 sides. So the left side is for planning and the right side is for journaling and memory keeping. I actually use the same layout in my A6 Hobonichi, so I know that this works for me. So let's start with the left side. At the top here, I have my events and appointments, similarly to my weeklies. And below that, I have my to-do list. And as you can see, it's a more detailed to-do list than the one in weeklies. And then for a while, I was using a different pen color for my journaling. I was using blue. Now I am back to using black because I kind of like the uniform look. I don't know, maybe I will switch that in the future again, but yeah. And here I'm just making multiple entries throughout the day about what's happening, what I'm thinking about, and I'm trying to make these, I don't know how to say, like, it's not the headlines, but like captions of important thing that day, because I know that in future when I will be flipping through the notebook, I will probably not read each and every one of these entries. So this gives me an idea of what was happening that day. It's like the most important thing that day, as well as the pictures and any ephemera I have, like this one. I saved the Hobonichi packaging here. And yeah, that is my dailies. I don't use the pages in the back like the Hobonichi pages. It's enough that I have to remember to flip back to my weeklies and monthlies. So yeah, those in the back don't exist for me. And that is my current Hobonichi Cousin system. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you did, definitely give this video a big thumbs up. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!